First, we can see the minimum and maximum value of the function. In this case, the maximum value is 1 and the minimum value is -1. We can also identify the chart of the original function. When we see x, we have 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. And when we see y, respectively, we have 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1.
Right now, you're seeing the transformed version of the function. In this case, y equals 3 cosine, in parentheses, for x. First, we will see the chart. In this case, when we see x, we see 0, pi over 8, pi over 14, 3 pi over 8, and pi over 2. And y, we see 3, 0, -3, 0, and 3. As you can see, when now we see the graph, we're going to see the maximum and minimum value of both of them. In this case, maximum value is 3, minimum value is -3. This is the first thing we have to take into account. But why is it transformed? Let's have into account that when we are seeing the function, a will affect y coordinates and x, or anything multiplied by it, will affect x coordinates. In this case, we have 3, we have 4. That is why we had a change on the x as well as on y. Now, when we see the graph, right now we have a bigger version of what it is to have this graph, but we can see that they are shorter and it's not as larger as it was when we had the original version. After this, you are going to see how we can see both of these graphs and try to have a comparison between both of them. Basically, what you can see now is a better comparison between the original and the transformed version. In this case, the blue line in the graph, it's the original function, while the red line, it's the transformed version. You can see that when we're seeing the original function and how it's graphed, we can see that it's larger, the space between each of them, and that's on the x-axis. It's bigger, it has a bigger amount of space, while when we seeing the transformed version, you can see that the x-axis, the space between each of them, it's smaller, while we see the y-axis, it is larger. This is why when we are multiplying something by x, instead of multiplying, we will be dividing it. That's why the space on the x-axis will be smaller, but when we are multiplying and it affects the y coordinates, we can see that it will affect everything. So we will have a bigger version of the original. In this case, you can see that the maximum value is 3, the minimum value is -3, while the original, it's the maximum 1 and the minimum -1. It's bigger, it enlarges vertically, but in the smaller space horizontally, while we have the original more space horizontally, in this case x, and less bigger, smaller in this case, y. This is now like the comparison. We made it a close-up version. When you see it, it goes infinite, but here you can see it better in a close-up.